On the morning of July 1, 1965, a farmer named Morris Moss was checking on his lavender fields when he unexpectedly heard a whistling sound. Shortly after this, he caught sight of an egg-shaped craft and what appeared to be two small boys standing in his field. Moss stated that the two had large hairless heads, smooth white skin, large slanted eyes and pointed chins with small mouths and no lips. He also claimed that they seemed to be inspecting his crop, and after trying to approach the two, one of the beings pointed something that looked like a tube at Moss, leaving him immobile. After eventually watching the craft lift into the air and fly off, Moss regained mobility and reported the experience to local authorities, as well as to the town's mayor. On the night of September 19, 1961, a couple named Betty and Barney Hill were traveling to their home in New Hampshire when they suddenly spotted a multicolored light in the sky. After noticing the light was moving along with them, they decided to pull over and take a look at the object with a pair of binoculars from their car. Upon doing so, Barney reportedly saw several figures within the object and realized it was getting closer to them. This prompted the couple to run back to their car and drive away. But after leaving and seeing that the object was gone, both later began to hear a strange beeping sound. Making nothing of it and continuing on their way, the two realized after making it home that the trip had taken hours longer than it should have. In the following week, both would go on to have multiple dreams of alien-like beings and were eventually convinced to go through regressive hypnosis to possibly recover any memories from their missing time. While under hypnosis, the Hills recalled being stopped on their way home in the middle of the road and being taken aboard a craft. They also remembered being given types of medical examinations, while Betty recalled seeing some sort of map of stars before being returned to their car. To this day, the Hills case is widely regarded as one of the first claimed extraterrestrial encounters. In September of 1994, a school in Ruwa, Zimbabwe saw 62 of its classmates ranging in ages of 5 to 12 report to their teachers that a flying object had landed off in the schoolyard. The kids saw 3 objects in the sky disappearing and reappearing until one came down to land. After touching down out in the distance, the kids witnessed the sudden appearance of a small man on top of the craft. According to the kids, the being was said to have a skinny neck and large eyes, standing around 3 feet tall. At this point the man unexpectedly started moving in the direction of the kids, only to disappear and then reappear back at the craft. After disappearing one last time, the craft then lifted into the air, taking off in seconds. Many of the children would go on to produce drawings of what they saw that day, while some of the older kids even stated that they felt they had communicated with the being in some type of way. They felt the message they received conveyed how human pollution and destruction would have dire consequences in the future. In 2009, a police officer of Wiltshire, England contacted UFO investigators after having a strange experience on the side of a road near the town of Avebury. While driving down the road and passing a newly created crop circle from the days prior, the sergeant saw several people standing within the formation and decided to investigate. After getting out of his car, yelling to the men and getting no response, the officer then began to enter the field. At this moment, he reportedly felt a type of static electricity in the air. The men, which stood at around 6 feet tall and were dressed in white coveralls with blonde hair, began running at great speeds away from the officer. After glancing down for a second, the officer looked back up, and to his amazement the beings were gone. Choosing to remain anonymous, The officer also stated that a crackling noise seemed to be running through the field and that the crop moved gently at the time.